Now to Israel, where smaller exchanges of fire are continuing near the country's northern border with Lebanon, a day after militant group Hezbollah and Israel traded aerial attacks. Israel claims to have destroyed thousands of Hezbollah rocket launchers in southern Lebanon. The Israeli military said its preemptive strikes would prevent a wider escalation of the conflict. Hezbollah has launched more than 300 rockets at Israel in response to the killing of one of its senior commanders in Beirut last month. There have been near-daily cross-border clashes between Israel and Hezbollah since the October 7 terror attacks committed by Hamas. Ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas over Gaza have so far produced no results. Let's work our way through some of those issues with Shalom Lipner. He's the Atlantic Council non-resident senior fellow for the Middle East programs, and joins us from New York City. Welcome to DW, Shalom. Israel, as we've just outlined there, fighting wars on many fronts, including Gaza, Lebanon and Iran, against Iran and its proxies. How long can Israel withstand such a prolonged series of conflicts?
Good to be with you. Like anything else, I think it's a question of degrees. Obviously, the goal of Israel's adversaries is to overwhelm its defenses. At the same time, I think we've seen in practice that Israel maintains a formidable multi-layered defense system, has been effective in stopping pretty much to a large extent, without stopping all tangible damage, shall we say, having done by incoming attacks over the past many months. Also, Israel's not alone in this. We saw, most poignantly in April when the United States, regional allies, the French, Germany as well, a bunch of people put together this coalition to repel an Iranian attack of hundreds of incoming projectiles and missiles. So, clearly it's demonstrated success in being able to withstand these assaults. At the same time, very much depends on what is forthcoming. I mean, the Iranians, Hezbollah says there'll be a second phase to their attack. The Iranians are still waiting for, on deck, arguably to launch a strike as well. The Houthis, as you say. So, I mean, much of it depends on what it is that we see coming. But, clearly, if we're judging from previous experience so far, Israel's been able to withstand most of the damage that these parties have tried to inflict.
And as you say, degree is everything when we're talking about the size of this conflict. And it's weird that everybody keeps shooting, but everybody says we don't want this to turn into all-out war.
Very much so, but I mean, I think you put your finger on you hit the nail on the head. I think that all the parties are concerned about what could happen if this thing escalates beyond control. We've seen just in the incidents over the past 48 hours, I guess, more or less, that after Israel preemptively struck, saying that they had intelligence indicating that Hezbollah was about to attack that morning. After that particular, tit for tat scale down, we saw both parties sort of declaring victory and moving on. Israel saying they were able to repel this attack. Hezbollah saying, we were able to go through with it, as maybe not to the extent that planned, but both parties were very happy to declare mission accomplished and move on, aware of the dangers that could, come to pass if this thing got very much out of control. So, we are seeing those messages that very much people do not want this to escalate to a point where, they could lose control of what happens next. So there's that built-in paradox.
A word about then ceasefire talks on Gaza. Israel and Hamas still seem to be far from each other, especially regarding control of the Philadelphia corridor on the Egypt-Gaza border and the Netzarim corridor. That's the zone of occupation that Israel has set up to separate the north of Gaza from the rest of the territory. These sticking points seem to be non-negotiables for both sides. So are any further talks therefore pointless?
Well, I don't know that they're pointless, if only from, to take off on your previous question. I mean, since neither party wants us to get out of control, one way to be able to maintain that space is for these talks to continue. Having said that, you're right, they are hobbling. We do have high-level engagement. It goes forward, it goes backwards. Neither party, it's almost like a game of chicken. Neither party wants to be declared the actual spoiler who scuttled the entire process. But there are, in fact, interests in all parties at the table. Some want this to succeed, some do not want it to succeed. And that complicates the dynamic here. The potential silver lining is, just as we have this sort of negative spiral, there's also a potential for a de-escalatory cycle as well, that if in fact we reach a point where we get to a ceasefire, it could actually radiate to the other theaters as well and create, a better sense of calm. But the negotiations have been very much 2 steps forward, 1 step back, if not the reverse.
Okay, thanks for guiding us through that. Shalom Libna from the Atlantic Council.
Pleasure to be with you.